you?
I'm hanging in. I'm tired and pooped but I'm okay. Oh,
Great.
lovely to see you.
Yeah, same. Thank you so much for doing this. It's so cool. I'm very excited. Um, so I have about 10 questions. Some of them are from me and some others are from fans.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so let's start. So you played Dorothy Gale on Once Upon a Time. Um, I was wondering, how did you get the part? Like, did you pass an audition? How did it went? Did you know you were auditioning for Dorothy? Like, yeah, the process.
This is actually one of my favorite stories because for all the other parts I've played on TV and in film, I've had to audition and sometimes several times. So the casting director of Once Upon a Time knew me from some other auditions. And I guess she had told me that they had been looking for a Dorothy and auditioning other girls for Dorothy for a long time and they couldn't find anybody. And then I sent her, she never auditioned me for Dorothy
Yeah.
Gale. And I sent her a Merry Christmas card just out of the blue. And because, she's such a sweet lady. Anytime I saw her in the audition room, she was just so nice. And she got my Christmas card and she went, "Oh my gosh, Terry, she's perfect." And she called my team and just offered me the part. So I never had to audition. It was the easiest job I've ever gotten. And I was like, "Oh, the
Cool.
perfect part." How such a gift.
Yeah, that's really fun. That's cool. Yeah, and so once you got the role, Dorothy, she's a character we all know. I really grew up with her and everything. A few people wondered how you prepared for this so iconic character. Like, did you watch movies? Did you read the book, or did you just go for it? Like, I'm gonna do my own Dorothy.
Right. Well, what's interesting is Dorothy in Once Upon a Time is different than the
Yeah.
Dorothy that we know from the storybooks. And part of why the casting director thought I was good for the role is because I do martial arts. And so I'm a fighter. And Dorothy Gale in Once Upon a Time is a fighter, right? It's the grown up version of Dorothy. So I did do research. I went back and read because there's books. There's Dorothy Gale. There's books about Dorothy that they based the movie on, or maybe vice versa. So I watched the movie. I read the books. I learned about kind of, her origin story, and then in my mind, and this is my favorite part of acting, I imagined what her life would have been like to lead her to have to learn how to be a warrior, right?
Yeah.
And then I watched Once Upon a Time
Oh,
because then
you
I got
did?
to know, yeah, because the Green Witch,
Yeah.
she's kind of my enemy, right? So I
Yeah.
had learned about her and why she's such a threat. So I built this whole story using research and then my imagination, which is the most fun part of acting.
Yeah, that's really fun. There's a fan called Evic2612 who wondered if you had watched the film The Wiz with Diana Ross and Michael Jackson.
I haven't seen that version. I've seen the stage play. When I
Oh,
went to
yeah.
graduate school for theater, the professional theater associated with my graduate school did the play. And it was amazing. It was just singing, dancing, crazy fun. But yeah, there's so many different imaginings of the story of
Yeah,
Dorothy and the characters.
and it's an amazing story. Like, yeah, it's the first book I've ever like read on my own, so like it really means a lot
Oh,
to me. Like, it's amazing.
it's
I still have it. Like,
special.
that's the
You
first book I
do?
ever read. I still have it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, how special.
Yeah, yeah, it really means a lot to me. I was like
What do you think
7,
about the
something like that.
Dorothy?
Sorry?
What do you think about the Dorothy in the book you're holding versus the Dorothy in Once Upon a Time?
It's been a long time since I haven't read this one, but I don't know. Both of them were kind of like really cool and super badass and always helping others. And I really
Mhm.
love both of them. Yeah, really.
Yeah. They also did an origin story in Once Upon a Time with a childhood Dorothy. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm playing her
Hmm.
as a youth, and I love that. I love that about her character. that she fights for others, she fights for the underdog, she fights for people that needs help, and she's a strong woman, and
Yeah.
she's positive and hopeful, all of it, all at once. I
Yeah.
love that she was a that was your first book.
Yeah, it's amazing. Um, so you kind of talked a little bit already about this, but what is the thing you like the most about your character? And on the contrary, what would you like to change or maybe had to? Or
I love her fighting spirit. And I think what we saw change in her was a softening of her heart because she spent so many years defending herself and defending the people that she loved, that she didn't get to open herself up to loving other humans, right? Because she'd been so hurt and she was so protective. So the beautiful arc of her character on Once Upon a Time is falling in love with Red Riding Hood and
yeah,
finally feeling understood by another female and finally feeling safe enough to fall in love romantically with somebody else. True
mhm,
love, she finds true love.
yeah,
So I think for Dorothy, that just that progression of being able to be strong and be vulnerable at the same time would be how I would love to see her progress.
yeah, that's real. Yeah. Um, so there's another question I usually like to ask the cast at conventions. So I'm definitely asking you, uh, what do you think your character is doing now? Is she still, with Ruby in Oz, or is she
Of
elsewhere?
course, she and Ruby are happily in love, but they have a tumultuous relationship, right? Where because they're both very opinionated ladies and they challenge each other. So it's a passionate relationship, but they love one another. They take care of each other. And because they both care so much about taking care of other people, I think they're still trying to save anybody who's lost or at risk. So I think they're still in that imaginary world. That's how I like to think of them.
Yeah, that's pretty story. Um, I like it. Once Upon a Time season 8.
Yeah, exactly. I know. So it was sad when it was over.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I read online, I think it was a tweet from the creator of the show, saying that you and Megan, who played Ruby, you were supposed to appear more on screen, but due to like schedule conflict, it didn't happen. Do you know a thing or two that we missed, like something, an idea?
I never knew. No, I have no idea. I just
Oh,
know that Megan was doing another TV show,
yeah.
and so they couldn't bring us back. And it was heartbreaking for me because I loved playing Dorothy and I loved working with Megan. So they never told me anything other than, yeah. It was tough. I was bummed. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Like they saw each other for like one episode. I was like, no, I want more.
I know, right? Me too.
Yeah, but it was cute anyway.
Yeah, I'm sorry I don't know any more of what
No,
they were
it's
gonna
fine. I
say.
was just
But,
wondering, who
you have
knows?
to ask the creator of the show. Go interview the creator.
Yeah, I do it. So there's another question by Emma Swan Monster. She asked
Mm.
if you could play any other fairy tale character on the show, who would it be?
Any other fairy tale character on the show? Um, shoot, what's the name of the main one with the blonde hair?
Emma Swan?
Not Emma Swan. The very original. Shoot, my brain. I'm an old lady. Let me see. Once upon a time. I'm gonna look it up. Da-da-da-da. Maybe it is Emma Swan. Oh yeah, Emma Swan.
Okay.
Because uh, yeah, you're right. Of course, I should have trusted you. You know the show 100 times better than me. What I loved about and she did it so well, the actress Jennifer Morrison.
Yeah.
She's a troubled woman, a woman that has conflict within her and yet keeps fighting, which I think is so human, right? We're not perfect yet. We're works in progress, and we have so much to learn, and we have to go through bumpy experiences to grow. And I just love the trajectory of her character, how she became
Mm.
stronger, but had to go up and then down and all around to get there. So I love that storyline.
Yeah, I love Emma Swan too. She's my favorite character.
Oh, I got
Yeah,
it right.
totally. Um, there's actually several people who ask me, um, what was the best part of working with the cast? Uh,
No, her name, I'll tell you the real name, Ginnifer Goodwin
yeah,
and Josh Dallas.
hmm,
They're married in real life.
yeah, that's cute.
They're very cute. So on the show, them and then Little Red Riding Hood, Megan, and then the other actress. My memory's terrible.
Jamie,
Edit this part out.
Jamie,
The
mm,
Say it again.
Jamie Chung. I'm not sure of the pronunciation.
Jamie Chung. Hold on.
Yeah,
Um, those are the four people that I worked with the most. And off screen, they were the sweetest, most downhearted,
yeah,
silly, kind people. And we're traipsing it through the Vancouver forest in the middle of the night, and it's a rainstorm, it's a downpour, and everybody's cold. People get, I got bronchitis. Like we were just wet and tired. And Ginnifer Goodwin and her husband
just that.
ordered everybody pizza, Josh
Uh,
Dallas. And somehow, because they're who they are, they had all of these, for the cast and crew, the whole crew, like hundreds of people, that pizza delivered to the middle of the forest in the middle of the night in the middle of a rainstorm in Vancouver, Canada. And it was just the sweetest gesture of trying to take care of everybody that I ever witnessed. And it was just, yeah, just the kind heartedness of that cast was what I loved.
yeah, that's so sweet. I love that story.
Yeah.
um, you also played with Rebecca Matter, the Green Witch.
I did.
How was it?
She is a character in real life, man. She has so much energy. I just would stare. She would tell stories and she was hilarious. She was always on and talking and working on her character. She was a really serious actress,
Yeah.
like really studied all of her lines and how they would come out. And she's an artist, like a true technician when it came to shaping her character. So I didn't get to know her very much personally. It was more just like I was observing her, like this spirit of amazing energy around the space. She's incredible.
Yeah, she seems to be. Yeah, she seems to be really, really funny. Um,
Yeah. And it felt like she kind of took me under her wing and mentored me a little bit because I didn't know anybody. And she's like, let me show you around. So it felt like she took care of me like a little sister while I was there, which was,
that's cool.
yeah, she was great.
There's another fan called Fabina Fan who asked, what made you want to pursue acting, and who are your inspirations?
Good question. I think growing up, I loved making people laugh. I loved being silly, and when they laughed, it somehow created all of these happy feelings in my body, even when I was young, right? So I loved seeing other people light up. And I craved that growing up. I wanted to make other people happy or take them on a story and just get into the world of imagination, like those storybook stories from Once Upon a Time, where you can just kind of escape and just feel hopeful and feel just feel all of that magic. And that I wanted to do for other people. And so I studied acting, and then the more I studied it, the more I got good at it and the more opportunities I had to do that. And so I think just creating that magic escape where it's safe to explore our strengths and our weaknesses for audiences is why I got into acting. And then I also loved the camaraderie of it. In theater, on a set, you can't do it by yourself, right? You need everybody. The whole group has to be involved.
Mm,
And so you get to experience everybody's energy, and it's like you're creating something as a community and bonding with other people, that social bond. I love that too. And then you get to meet people like you who are participating in the story. And how the heck would I ever have met you in my life if I hadn't been part of the storytelling and you being part of the storytelling of all of it, right? So I get to meet people that live in France, for goodness sake.
yeah,
It's a gift. It just connects you to people and stories.
and that's really cool. Yeah. I have a question from Erwan, my friend, about the costumes on the shows.
Oh,
He wonders if they were comfortable, if it was practical to play Dorothy with this like huge dress and everything.
it's awful, but really fun. So they made the costume from scratch. So they built every piece of it for me. And then they cinched me in it tight until I could barely breathe because it's that corset. And then there's like layers and layers and tights, and then they gave you extra tights because it was freezing outside, and then you had to lace up these boots. And I had so many things I couldn't put it on myself. I had a dresser come into my room and tie me up for me. And then there was like things on top of other things, like she has her armor, and so they had a different guy that came in and put on the armor. And it took a group effort to get dressed. And then you're trying to like fight and move around the forest. But the cape, even just itself that I wore, was like 50 pounds or something. Not really, I'm exaggerating, but maybe 20 pounds of like this heavy material that I'm. So by
Yeah.
the end of the night, it was like a workout, but it kept me warm. All of those layers in
Yeah.
the middle of freezing Vancouver. It was fun. I loved it. But it was also like the costume was part of the character because I was having to work with the costume. And so it made me feel more tough.
Yeah.
The costumes were so amazing on that show.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Really,
Yeah.
really, yeah, amazing.
Hmm.
Well, it's already like my last question. Um, the show, has been over for a couple of years now, but it still has this incredible influence and impact on fans, who I think particularly look up to the cast. So if you could say one thing to them, what would it be?
Keep the magic going. The very reason you love this show is because you guys have such big, beautiful hearts. And whatever it is that you connected to on that show, just keep that spirit up in you and spread it. Spread that joy, spread that magic, which you are already doing, Miss Lisa. I already feel it in our communication with each other. So you fans are carrying on that spirit of love and community and adventure, and so just that's how you can keep the show alive in your hearts, right?
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm trying to do. Like, yeah, keep the magic alive.
And you are doing it. You're keeping it alive by doing these interviews, right? I'm so
Yeah,
happy that you asked about. It was one of the favorite experiences of my life as an actress and as a person being on that show.
I'm really happy you had a great time on the show. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Um, well, thank you so much. I had a wonderful time. I hope you had too.
I
Um,
did.